flag in his hand.
Hey all. We are at Kansas in the Cup Series here. Racing at Kansas a lot this week. This from about a month ago in my Cup career. I'm driving the 21 car for the Wood Brothers, which, as you probably heard me say before, it's a 4-star car, so it's underpowered, a little less aero, a little less suspension, which essentially means it's a bit slower, especially over the long run. But I got a decent setup. This is a setup before the setup I posted as a Kansas ×2 setup. This is a ×1 race. It was, as you see here, it's a pretty good short run car, but I'd keep putting tires on it. And since it takes longer to get up front in the Cup Series for whatever reason, I did this 22 laps to go. I'm probably not looking to pit again because there's so many cars on the lead lap. If there's like 15 or less cars, it's one thing, but I think there was almost 30 cars in the lead lap and 22 laps to go, yeah. And look here, I'm only up to 24th place. Some lap cars mixed in. I don't really remember what happened on the caution there, but anyway. So I'm just working my way up.
You got room, you're clear there.
Trying to keep my nose clean, literally, and get as far up in this field as possible. Running this race because it's in the playoffs, and I'm trying to maintain, get into the round of 8, and as high up as I can in that.
20 laps to go.
See, even though this is a horsepower track, there's also drafting involved with this package, and I figured maybe I can do okay in it. It's still an uphill battle, but my contract goal, as you see, is 15th, so I at least want to have a top 15 run out of this.
You're all clear up top there.
And moving forward, but as you can see, unlike, you've seen in my Xfinity and truck videos, I'm not like in the top 10 already after 2-3 laps. Yeah, it takes longer. The racing is different AI-wise in Cup in NASCAR Heat 4 than it was in Heat 3. The cars also take different lines, I noticed, which makes the track seem smaller when it really isn't. But the Cup cars don't go all the way down on the white line in the turns. They tend to run like loose lines, which I think lends to the feeling that there's less room on the track, because you can't go as wide at most tracks. See how they're running the inside line? But they're not all the way down. See, the guy up front was kind of all the way down, but the guy behind him wasn't. And, the guy in front of me was running a different line. So you see a variation in the AI, I think, in Cup, at least in career mode, that you don't see in the other series. And that makes you drive it differently. I'm not going to be the only one driving down on the inside unless I have to on the apron in the front stretch here.
Careful, still there.
I'm not running bad, but not that fast. I got to stay in the gas a lot longer than these guys because they have more power. All of them, I noticed. Even the other 4-star cars seem to have more power than I do, the way they have things set up. And I mentioned before, I remember in NASCAR Heat 3, in the same kind of situation, running a 4-star car in a series, you're slower than you were in NASCAR Heat 3. NASCAR Heat 3, you could be a little bit more competitive. But the only places I really found that are at Bristol and the super speedways. Yeah, you can run up front in the super speedways, but you can't really hold the lead for very long. So you got to kind of plan for that and be like Junior Johnson or Dale Earnhardt, riding in second until the last lap or second to last lap and then pass. Because if you pass, you're going to get passed back. They just gang up on you if you try to take the lead, like say even 5 laps to go. You're probably not going to end up with the win because they'll just blow past you at some point. Because it takes a few laps for them to get organized. And I'm talking about draft because draft is really important at the super speedways and Cup this year. as you can see, I'm stuck behind De Benedetto. And you can also see that I have a decent balance on the car, but I'm burning off the right front a bit more than I'd like, which evidently I haven't fixed during the race. Or maybe this is the happy balance I was able to achieve. Either way, I'm struggling to move forward, so I'm going to need every one of those 22 laps to get just back to 15th place if I make it. See how De Benedetto's running? And he moved up. You know, he moved up because they sense you're near the AI. But see, he's able to pull out in front of me. And I know everybody says, oh, you got to run the high line, it's the fastest way around. Yeah, you can go faster through the turns and you get a little bit of advantage down the straights, but I just ran a couple of better versions of this setup racing and in league racing, and I can run the top, but I wasn't faster around the track. I was a little bit slower. My setup tends to run a little bit better, like a lane down from the top or 2 lanes down from the top. Typically, see that black stuff in the middle? Yeah, there. I'm not running it here because this is a different setup. This is an older setup. And this is just like, how do you survive to the end of a tire run setup? Not incredibly fast, and I'm underpowered, as I said, being in a 4-star car versus pretty much it seems like everybody else has got a 5-star car this year. So just doing the best I can. 11 laps to go, and I only made about 10 spots. It's not looking good, you know, for me to have a really good finish. So I gotta get past like all these cars, you know, like this group of cars in front of me, and I'll be like in 16th, and then I still gotta get past the other guys. And look how far the leader is. I'm half lap down already. So track position much more important in the Cup Series than it is in the other series, even in AI. Something to bear in mind when you're doing, you know, your career or even your online stuff. Cup cars, you're not going to blast through the field as easy overall. So you got to race it more like real life. You know, you got to make your pit decisions and your tire strategy decisions. You know, they tend to become more important. And one thing I noticed racing online is everybody does pretty much the same thing. You're all coming in to get fresh tires at the same time, so having an advantage in that area is not really a realistic strategy to count on like it is offline. You know, you really have to have a good setup. You really have to have, you know, good strategy, basically strategy that probably is mirroring, you know, what everybody else is doing, which, I don't know, might sound a little bit, you know, boring, but if you want to finish well, you know, you tend to have to do those things, and passing people is a lot harder. You know, so I watch and I help broadcast some league races, and I see these guys, you know, they're going around the track, and, you know, one corner it's one guy, the next corner it's another guy, and you can't really leave. It's very hard to leave the pack behind, especially on the faster tracks. They are more, you drive more like Daytona and Talladega in strategy than you might think, even though you might be driving them more like a mile and a half in actuality. It's weird. It's new. It's different. And it's hard to explain unless you see it. See, here offline, you know, I'm just driving it like a mile and a half. And as you can see, I'm keeping up, but what are we, like, over 10 laps in, about 15 laps, and yeah, I'm starting to get loose. It's not really loose, I'm getting tight loose, which I probably couldn't fix during the race, and this is the best I got it, but still only a 10 or 15 lap car, so just kind of holding on. I don't really remember what happens here as I'm watching this for the first time, as you're watching it. I think this might be my worst finish of the year. Which happens, you know, it happens. Sometimes you just don't get it. So I'm really happy I fixed this setup. I see these lap times I'm running. And I know I'm underpowered, so it's not really a true comparison. Oh, there we go. Got around on me. Bam. See, I can't really say that was loose. Because if it was loose, I would have turned it back. I probably just a complete lack of grip on the right side. Probably caused more by a tight condition than a loose condition. Yeah, this setup was not anywhere near as stable as the later setups. That I do remember. And we got 5 laps to go. We got 24 cars on the lead lap. I'm pitting. Excuse me. And I will probably go all out to try to get to the end. I will have an advantage since nobody else pitted. And everybody pitted last time. We're on equal tires. I will be a lot faster than probably half the field. So I have a shot to get up 8-9 spots into 15th, or the top 15, but as you can see, I still haven't figured out the gearing here, which I don't think I really have today either. This is being about a month ago, but at least I can, I can come back on them and get a little bit of a run, and I needed that. See, I just pretty much did not lift. Your goal moving up through the field, especially when it's harder like here, is to just be in the gas as much as possible. When the other cars are on older tires and they have to lift at certain points, but you got to be prepared for it. You can't get into anybody. You can't let anybody slow you up. You got to have clear space. And sometimes when you're this far back, you're just not going to get it. There's going to be some point where somebody's going 3 wide already, or even 2 wide can, just halt your progress and kill your momentum, and then next thing you know, you're stuck. So I'm up to 20th. That's further up front. Ooh, that was close. Further up front than I've gotten. 18th here. We got a shot at a top 15, but 18th. Time ran out. So that's not going to help me much. But 18th with this setup, if I simmed it, I probably would have finished in the 20s, maybe even 30th. So I did better, running the race, definitely. Just showing my progress. As you can see how I wasn't running very well most of the race. Got us stuck on lap in the beginning laps for whatever reason. I don't quite understand that. See if it kicks out of it. Okay. Oh, this is like the... Okay, we got to lap 54. Good. See? Running 28th, 29th. I was probably way out till I saw me get loose or tight there or something. Stage 1, yeah. Probably in the back. So on those stage points today, so... Horrible day overall, but with what I was entered with and my goals, I didn't make them, but like I said, probably better 18th than simming and getting a 30th or something like I seem to have been running most of the race. So I must have gotten it better, at least for long enough of a run to move forward at some point. And then the strategy at the end definitely helped. So basically the whole race, I didn't have to run. It all came down to that actually wrecking, with 5 laps to go and getting fresher tires than everybody else and actually being able to take advantage of it and move into a top 20 finish. Which, like I said, again, that's kind of boring and sucks, but sometimes you got to take what you can get, and that's racing. That's all I could get. I got it. I do like that paint job, though. Yeah, it does remind me of the old paint schemes. There's a nice twist to it. Looks good on that Mustang, too. Yeah, a lot of laps. I think it was 267 laps, long race. As you can see, every time you see me, I'm in the back. So we're coming down to that last pit stop. which this might be after. I'm not sure, quite sure. Maybe now or something like that. So I'm moving up, slowly inching my way with changes I made. Yeah, this is what we saw in car now. Yep. And just made 18th. Yeah, that was a... I don't remember it being that long, probably because I was busy most of the race, but yeah, see, 18th. Yeah, no stage wins, no stage points. So just a tough race, which a lot of races are, you know. If you think about it, most races are just getting through them. And if nothing else, when you run this poorly, it is motivation to figure out how not to run so poorly. Good thing is I'm 25 points in front of the 9th place guy. I'm in 5th place, so I'm pretty well entrenched in advancing to the round of 8. So I can't really be too upset. I didn't have a great setup. I knew it. It was just like, let's just stick it out and see how many spots we can pick up. And so, say I picked up about a dozen spots. So that's 12 points. So that's, instead of being like about 13 points on the good side, I'm 25 points because I did it. You know, I stuck it out. And again, that's a lot of racing. You know, I mean, that's a lot of what racing is you got to run them. You know, if you're not running them, then you can't really complain about where you end up. And I don't when I do it, but I got to this point and I'm like, you know, I really want a better car for next season. And see, there's my goal. I advanced to the round of 8. I didn't leave it to chance. And that was my goal for the season. Once I won a race and got in the playoffs, I had to stay in the top 20 to be eligible for the playoffs with a win, because you can win and not be in the top 20 and you're not eligible for the playoffs, the way the rules go. And then I was able to maintain, and I figured if I can stay in the top 8, I can finish well enough on the season and be able to take advantage of some of those 5-star car offers, team offers that I got for the next season.
Round of the playoffs. Keep it up, you'll be a champion in no time.
Videos. Gotta love the videos. It's cool that they got them. Take up time to me.
Hey,
but
great job out there
I get
recently. You're starting to turn some heads. Keep it up.
It's a more immersive experience, and plus getting all the drivers involved. It's cool. You know, it's cool. These are the kind of things they might be sending to one another. This is, you know, after all, 2019, right? About to be 2020, so this is the world we live in. And this is reflective of it. But most of racing is just keeping your nose clean, staying out of trouble, not hurting yourself by, you know, wrecking other people and getting into the wall and getting excessive damage that you don't need to make you slower than you might already be, and like in this case with me here, and just getting through and seeing how good you can do, how well you can finish. Racing is showing up and finishing the race first off, and everything else comes afterwards. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, questions, comments, anything, please leave them below. And thank you all. Keep rolling.